Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Today we're going to go over tutorial 6, which is based on chapters 10 and 11. It's a very short tutorial, so let's get into it. Written section. Sasol has issued a tranche of corporate bonds with 6 years to maturity. Each of these bonds has a face value of 1,000. They pay semi-annual coupons at 8.5% and are currently priced at a yield to maturity of 9.2%. Additionally, they are callable after 3 years at a call price of 1,100. Then they ask us to calculate the bond's price, current yield, and yield to call. So for bond calculations, it's best if you use your financial calculator. So in your calculator, these are the inputs. So n is equal to 12. So they tell us that it's 6 years to maturity, but they say they pay semi-annual coupons. So just take note of that. Basically, now instead of dealing with 6 periods, we're dealing with 12 periods because the bond pays out coupons twice in a year. So that's why n is 12. And then I is 4.6%. What we basically did is we took our 9.2% and we divided it by 2. So we took the annual yield to maturity and we divided it by 2 because we are paying 2 coupons in a year. And then the future value is 1,000. So, sorry, the future value or the face value is 1,000. The payment is 42.50. So we've got semi-annual coupons at 8.5%. So you just take your 8.5%, multiply it by 1,000, and you'll get 85 rands. But remember, we're paying that 85 rands twice in a year. So you just divide it by 2. That's how you get your 42.50. Input all those into your calculator and compute your present value. So solve for PV, and that's how you get the 968.27. Next is the current yield. So the current yield, it'll just be your annual interest over the present value. So it'll be your coupon payment, 85 over your present value, which we calculated in part A, and that's how you get 8.77%. And then the bonds yield to call. So they tell us that the bonds are callable after 3 years, and they give us a call price. So now in our calculator, n will be 6. So 3 years times by 2, that's how we get the 6. The present value, we'll use the present value which we calculated in part A, which is the present value of the bond if it's not callable. And then the future value, they give us a price of 1,100. So that's our FV. And then payment will be the same at 42.50. And then now we'll be solving for I, which is 6.32%. And remember that's a semi-annual rate. So now we need to convert this yield to call, the semi-annual yield to call, to an annual rate. So we'll just say 1.0632 squared minus 1, and that'll give us an annual yield to call of 13.04%. Next, we move on to the multiple choice. So a 20-year maturity bond with a par value of 1,000 makes semi-annual payments at a coupon rate of 8%. The yield to maturity is 9%. How much should you pay for the bond? So in your calculator, n will be 40 because we've got 20 years, but they tell us it's semi-annual payment. So 20 times 2 is 40. It'll be 4.5. So we'll just take our yield to maturity and divide it by 2. Payment will be 40, so it will be your coupon rate of 8% times 1,000, which is 80, divided by 2 is 40. FV will be 1,000, so they tell us the par value is 1,000. And you basically put those 4 values into your calculator and you solve for PV. And we get 907.88. So the answer is D. Yeah, just one thing that you should take note of is the semi-annual payments. Sometimes it could be quarterly, sometimes it could be 3 times a year, or whatever it is that they give you, just take note of that. And that basically determines how your calculation will pan out, or how you'll carry out your calculation. Um, Question 2. A bond with a par value of 1,000 has 6% annual coupon rate. Interest is paid semi-annually, and the price of the bond is 1,025. What is the current yield? So we looked at current yield in the written section. So current yield is your annual interest over your current price or present value of your bond. So the annual interest, it'll be your 6%, which is your coupon rate times 1,000. That's how you get your $60. And they already give us the price of the bond, so you don't have to compute that. So it'll just be 60 over 1,025, and that's how you get 5.85. So your answer is D. A bond's invoice price is equal to, so this is a theory question, the present value of coupon and interest payments plus the present value of par value, the present value of par value plus accrued interest, the flat price plus accrued interest, the flat price plus the present value of remaining coupon interest payments. So the answer is actually C. So just a note here, the flat price is the price without accrued interest, so accrued interest must be added to get the invoice price. Then finally, question 4. A bond that gives the bondholder the option to exchange it for common stock prior to maturity is a callable bond, floating rate bond, puttable bond, convertible bond. So the answer is D. And that's it for the tutorial. Thanks for watching.